They thought they could break me. They thought that by making me suffer, they could extinguish the fire inside me. But what they didn't realize is that suffering doesn't weaken me, it fuels me. Every time they tried to knock me down, I got back up stronger, more determined, and more focused. They thought my suffering would be the end of me, but instead it became the beginning of something they could never have imagined. I remember the moments when the weight of the world pressed down on me, when it felt like I was drowning in pain, barely able to catch my breath. There were days when getting out of bed felt like a monumental task, when the thought of facing another day seemed almost unbearable. They made me suffer. They made me doubt myself. And they made me question everything I was fighting for. The pain they caused was real. It cut deep, leaving scars that I thought would never heal. But I refused to let their actions define me. I refused to let them win. Instead, I used that pain to sharpen my resolve, to make me more relentless in my pursuit of greatness. I knew that if I could endure the suffering they put me through, I could endure anything. They may have tried to break me, but what they did was give me the tools to build myself back up stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. You see, the suffering they inflicted on me wasn't just about causing pain. It was about trying to control me, to keep me in a box, to make me conform to their expectations. They couldn't handle my strength, my determination, or my unyielding spirit. So they tried to dim my light, hoping I would shrink back into the shadows, hoping that the fire inside me would eventually burn out. But I chose to rise above their attempts. I chose to turn their cruelty into my greatest source of strength. I've learned that the people who try to make you suffer are often the ones who see your potential, who see something in you that they fear. They fear what you can become because they know that once you realize your true power, there's nothing that can stop you. They see your greatness before you do, and that terrifies them. And so they do everything in their power to keep you down, to make you believe that you're less than you are. But I refuse to accept their lies. I refuse to let them dictate my worth or my destiny. Every time they pushed me down, I used that as a lesson in resilience, in perseverance, in the power of my own spirit. I realized that suffering was not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It was proof that I was still fighting, that I still had the will to overcome whatever obstacles were thrown in my path. I began to understand that the more they tried to hurt me, the more they revealed their own weaknesses, their own insecurities. And in that understanding, I found freedom. When they made me suffer, they were actually giving me the greatest gift of all, the opportunity to grow. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in the struggle, in the moments when everything seems to be falling apart. That's when true strength is forged. And I embraced that struggle. I welcomed the pain, because I knew that on the other side of it, I would emerge as a new person, stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. I refused to let them take away my dreams. I refused to let them win. I knew that if I allowed their actions to dictate my future, I would be giving them power over me that they didn't deserve. So I took that power back. I owned my pain, my suffering, and I turned it into something beautiful. I turned it into a force that propelled me forward, that made me unstoppable. There were times when I wanted to give up, when the weight of the suffering felt too heavy to bear. There were nights when I lay awake, my mind racing, wondering if I had the strength to keep going. But I knew that giving up would mean letting them win, and that was something I couldn't allow. I couldn't allow them to take away the future I had envisioned for myself. So I pushed through the pain, I pushed through the doubt, and I kept moving forward one step at a time. They made me suffer, but they also made me stronger. They made me realize that I am capable of enduring more than I ever thought possible. They made me see that my strength doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from facing it head on, from using it as a tool to build something greater. I began to see the suffering not as a curse, but as a blessing in disguise. It was through the suffering that I discovered parts of myself that I never knew existed, the parts that were unbreakable, the parts that would not be defeated. In the end, I didn't just survive their attempts to break me, I thrived. I became the person I was always meant to be, the person who refuses to be defined by the actions of others. I took control of my story, and I wrote a new chapter, one where I am the victor, not the victim. I realized that the power had been within me all along. I just needed to tap into it, to believe in it, to let it guide me through the darkest of times. So if you find yourself suffering, if you find yourself in the midst of pain that feels unbearable, remember this: you are not alone. I have been where you are, and I came out on the other side stronger than ever. You have that same strength within you. You have the power to turn your suffering into something extraordinary, to use it as a stepping stone to greatness. They may have made you suffer, but they cannot take away your power unless you let them. So stand tall, hold your head high, and keep moving forward. Use that pain, use that suffering, and let it propel you to heights you never imagined. Because in the end, the suffering they inflicted on you will be the very thing that makes you unstoppable. I won't forget what they did, but I won't let it define me either. I've learned to embrace the pain, to welcome it as part of the journey, as part of what makes me who I am. They made me suffer, yes, but they also made me realize just how strong I am, how resilient I am, and how capable I am of achieving anything I set my mind to. In the end, I turned their attempts to break me into the very foundation of my success. I built my future on the lessons learned from that suffering, and I emerged not as a victim, but as a warrior, strong, unyielding, and unstoppable. And for that, I am grateful. So let them try to make you suffer. Let them try to break you. Because what they don't realize is that all they're doing is helping you become the person you were always meant to be. And when you finally rise above it all, when you stand victorious, you'll know that it was the suffering that made you who you are, a force to be reckoned with, a person who cannot be broken, a soul that is truly unstoppable.